Thank you very much indeed, Aaron. And yeah, just for anyone else listening, everything Aaron just said is true. I wish it wasn't. The lesson there is to not drink wine while watching a cat. I'm not that familiar with Kanye West. I just saw a YouTube clip where he referred to himself as God and said everything he did was God. Like, I thought it'd be funny if I replicated that. It did not come across well. It was a stupid thing to do. I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, that was yeah. I mentioned that on a podcast actually the other day, Aaron, funny enough. And yeah, the host's question was, why? Why would you do that? I don't know. I thought it would be funny. Anyway, so yeah, thank you everybody for having me. What I'll be reading from Cancer and Pop Punk, it's kind of a long form thing anyway, so there's not actually titles to a lot of the poems that I'll be going on. But the first thing I'll be reading is inspired by an album I love by REM, Automatic for the People. The album in question is something that I first discovered when I was in high school. I discovered the album after a friend of mine unfortunately passed away, and I couldn't listen to it for a very long time. And then several years later, when somebody I was in a long-term relationship with passed away, unfortunately as well, I got to listen to the album again. So the poem in question sort of refers to that year when I was a teenager, and then back to losing my my partner at the time. So cheerful stuff. Strap yourselves in. I'll try and make it as fun as possible, but thank you. This is REM's Automatic for the People. Kurt Cobain was listening to Automatic for the People by REM when he killed himself. I am listening to Kurt Cobain on my way to find out that you have killed yourself by hanging up the phone. I offer to move back home and work 3 jobs so you can focus on chemotherapy. You explain that your new fiance is amazing and you are the priority is not to cry. Not until I can be alone. I'm scared if I cry, you'll kick the shit out of me again, but I look up and everyone is crying. I've slept on the living room floor for almost 7 months. 2 days without food. You keep asking me to visit you. I'm ashamed to admit that I'm too broke the headphones, so only the left side hears music. I am sent out for listening to it during class. We are learning that suicide is a sin. You are barely even cold outside and 6 more miles of walking until I get to work. The phone is cut off and you didn't reply to my last 3 messages. I can't stop my hands from constantly shaking with rage at the teacher. She leans in and whispers with a smile. That's exactly the noise your friend would have made before he died. Nobody I tell will believe me. I know the voicemail on my phone is someone telling me that you're dead, but I won't listen to it. I can't afford to eat, let alone afford to be depressed, confused teenagers gathering in a friend's garage. We drink cheap beer and tell cheap stories about you. There is still violence. We are only 14 miles until home and you're dead, and the insides of my thighs are cut to shreds, and I can feel blood in my socks and my boots. You're dead. I can't keep pretending the music doesn't seem to represent everything I want to say about you. A friend offers to put the album onto cassette. It is the sound of a soft funeral happening, and I am not there. I am told you're not a relative, no longer my partner, and not a good enough excuse to leave work. Despite our 9 years later, I will wonder if this album saved you for a while or just made death more comforting. At school, how often did you almost throw the noose around your head submerged underwater and the lights are off and the bailiffs are banging on the door and you're dead and I walked too far and my thighs are badly cut photographs on the bedroom floor. The missed signals. That time you raised your hand in geography and your sleeve slid down. The scars we reopen when the right song comes on. I am 14 again. I am not crying, nor am I losing weight. There's just less of me existing in this music is something that people feel harmonizes with their death rattle. With which song did you die? Which song stopped you breathing in tune with the banging of the door? The bath is full of blood and I pull keepsakes of cheap cotton out of myself with anything distracting I can get. Song of distraction, sing-along scars, song of violence, constant sickening dance of the lost friend still hanging above me on Christmas Eve, your absence howling in surround sound, your family scattering piano ashes across the furrowing of my brow. Your mother is sobbing, a teenage piano in a coffin. The piano is wearing a scarf so that no one can see its neck, bruised, little black octaves blooming under the skin, and something about night swimming deserves a quiet night. I won't look away, I won't look up, I won't ration breath. This perfect environment will not enter me and leave less special. This ghost will not become another carbon-dated tremors of your voice, skipping in the groove of the needle. I turn the record over and softly sing back to you. The automatic reflex or memory, both oxygen and jewel. It's probably a good time now to mention that this pamphlet that Aaron's very kindly helped me put together, all of the author royalties will go to a charity called Way, Widowed and Young. It's a small Derbyshire charity. I should say, Widowed and Young is anybody under the age of 51 by their definitions. And it's a wonderful place where, it's not the biggest charity in the world, but any money that gets made helps grieving people from don't have many friends, potentially don't have any people in their community they can talk to. They can get social, they can leave the house, they can discuss their issues on a human level. So it's a charity that's really important to me, and all of the author royalties that I make from this go to that charity. So I do want to thank Aaron again for taking it on, because it's raising some money for a wonderful cause. So thank you. And this next poem. No, I didn't want to sing along to that song on the jukebox about love being a battlefield with you. It was my first date in 2 years. And before I commit to that kind of intimacy, I need to imagine you dying, just to see if the world still happens without you there. It didn't. People used to think that before death, a swan would sing. They confused its panic for beautiful music. The way it called for help melodic, despite the fear that ripped through it like the tearing of clothes. I'm sorry that I left without saying goodbye. I'm learning to love with spite. I'm still trying to find its rhythm. I would also like to say at the moment that the wonderful poet who I think is in the chat at the moment, Stuart McPherson, is doing some wonderful things on Twitter to raise some funds for Ukraine very soon. I've been a bit manic at work at the moment, so I haven't been able to read it properly, but anybody that can, please do check it out, because there's an amazing fundraiser I believe he's putting together. Sorry to put you on the spot, Stuart, but maybe you can tweet about it after the gig. But yeah, again, just another broken sleep poet doing a lovely thing for a community. Ah, there we go. He's mentioning it now. Fantastic. Thank you, Stuart. I will be moving on to my next poem now. He says, as part of the preamble, where's it gone? I put unicorn sticky notes on this, hoping it would help, but it really hasn't. There we go, I found it. Okay, so this poem, a lot of the collection has a lot of musical elements to it. The term pop punk, there's not that much pop punk music in it, actually. It's just pop punk itself always felt as an odd genre of music where even if you don't particularly like the music, if you hear it on the radio, the choruses just stay in your head, they do not leave. I'm not the biggest fan of the genre, but it just doesn't leave my head sometimes. And after losing a couple of very important people in my life, I felt whenever someone was talking to them, I'd make a noise, I'd be like, I don't want to talk about them. And it was about these intrusive thoughts kind of came little earworms of a chorus, if you like. This poem is more recently someone I'm very, very close with. It means a lot to me. I had to go in for surgery for a very serious procedure. And it's about letting your mind run away with you. And I was doing laundry and I was getting ahead of myself, I guess. When I took off your clothes, I hoped the tumor would come with them. For a while, I even believed it to be true. The washing machine started to lose weight. The threads of your favorite jumper began falling out in clumps. I cupped my hands across the impression of your stomach in the mattress to soundproof it from flipping when the doctors called. I practiced how my footsteps would beat yours to the telephone. how I'd nail what they cut out of you to the front door as a warning to other ailments. Sometimes I'd hear movement in the kitchen and find your jeans kick thumping with mine in the dryer. At night, your gloves would scuttle up the bedpost as I slept, one covering my mouth, the other between my legs, checking. And sticking to the musical aspects of the collection, I'm assuming they're quite a popular band. I don't know, because I live in a small, tiny vacuum, but I think Weezer are quite a popular band. Yes, there you go. I'm getting lots of like, yeah, of course they are, Dean, you idiot. Yeah, okay, great. They did an album in 1996 called Pinkerton. Everything in bold on the screen is basically the track listing of the album. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all you need to know about it. So I'll shut up and read it now. It's okay to pretend that you're tired of sex if it hurts. Plenty of men would feel sick at the thought of another body on theirs, especially with the ghost of the last one still watching through a cracked window of flesh. I won't get you sick like the others. I want to be your vitamin, as in something that no other one person could be for you, except for the hundreds of others you can hold in the palm of your hand. Because I won't go through this again. Why bother? It was what light switched on to look at itself in the mirror. It was a lateral question. Across the sea are two islands. Both require treatments to reach them. One offers you enough blood to stay alive, but not enough to actually live. I'm years long in the dirt of some dream of the good life, where I leave traces of health on you. I dream I'm good pollution. And yes, this sticky heart of mine is El Scorcho at times, with its unforgivable yearnings for something more than its own reflection in a dented toaster come Friday night. But I've seen what happens to the pieces we entrust to others. I've watched them flash like some pink triangle of warning, illuminated by a Vauxhall Astra's Broadway lights. I'm not falling for you. I've seen that moment of hesitation when the results come back before. They promised to keep her beautiful. I laughed. There was a framed butterfly on the wall of the office, and I understood the meaning of those words. Keeping you beautiful. Once, when we were listening to Pinkerton together in a hotel room, you turned to me. What's that song about pulling a thread on a piece of clothing, and it unravels as they walk away? That's what it would feel like, losing you, I think. Undone. Sure. I am going to finish. I've got one more. Oh no, I think I'm done. Fantastic. No, I am done. Don't worry, Aaron, you didn't mess up. I was done. Thank you very much, everybody. And yeah, please continue to buy Broken Sleep books. And anyone who buys this, please know all the money goes to charity. And we really appreciate your support. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you.